Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Sadashiva-Samarambha Shankaracharya-Paryanta Vande Guru-Paramparam Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Om Tat Sat, Om Namah Shivaya. So we were on verse number 3. So we'll just chant that out. Chapter 6, verse number 3. Shri Bhagavanuvacha
Bhagavanuvacha
Arukshor Muner Yogam Karma Karanamuchyate Yoga Rudhasya Tasyaiva Shamakkaranamuchyate. Okay. So look at the words. Arurukshoho munehe yogam. Break up of the first word, first compound word. Arurukshoho munehe yogam. Karma karanam uchyate. Yoga rudhasya tasya eva samaha karanam uchyate. Anvaya is Yogam arurukshoho munehe karma karanam uchyate. Full stop. Tasya yoga arudhasya eva samakaranam uchyate. Full stop. So yogam, the Dhyana yoga which is being presented in this chapter, that is Nididhyasanam, is Karanam, said to be, Karanam Uchyate, is said to be the means for Arurukshoho Munehe, Arurukshoho, one who desires to attain. And so we are saying Yogam Arurukshoho Karanam Uchyate. You have to present it like that. Which means Nididhyasanam is the means for the person who is Arurukshoho, who desires to attain. And Munehe. So you have to connect Yogam, which is Nididhyasanam, to Munehe, for the person who is a contemplative person. While, so Arurukshoho is the one who desires to obtain the end, the final objective. And therefore, Nididhyasanam is the means for the contemplative person, while Karma Karanam Uchyate, Karma Yoga, is said to be the means. Tasya, for that one, Yoga Arudasya Eva Shama Karanam Uchyate. In short, if you look at the words, for the person Yogam Arurukshoho, for the person who desires to come to Nididhyasanam. Right? Arurukshoho is the person who desires. So Yogam Arurukshoho, the person who wants to become a contemplative person, for him Nididhyasanam, he wants to attain Nididhyasanam. That means for him Karma Yoga is the means. So it's a bit of complicated sentence. So let me just put it in English. For the seeker who wants to achieve Nididhyasanam, Karma Yoga is said to be the means. Okay. So here we are saying for the person who is a Karma Yogi only, he has not yet attained the necessary Chitta Shuddhi for Nididhyasanam. So for him, Karma Yoga is said to be the means. While yoga arudhasya, for the person who has already reached the contemplative portion, Dhyana yoga portion, whatever means shama karana muchyate. For him, sannyasa is said to be the means. So shama here means cessation of duties. To be taken as jnana nishtha, to be taken as sannyasa. So here two ideas are presented. That one is the person who is a karma yogi and he has not yet got the necessary chitta shuddhi. So for him, what does it means? Karma karana muchyate. Right? And for the other person, he has already got the necessary chitta shuddhi and he is able to do nididhyasanam. For him, what does it mean? Shamaha. For him, sannyasa is the means. For the person who is not yet got the necessary chitta shuddhi for nididhyasanam, he should stick to karma yoga. For the person who has got the necessary chitta shuddhi for nididhyasanam, he should take sannyasa. So there is a connection between karma yoga and dhyana yoga. Sadhana sadhya sambandha is there. And therefore, in this particular chapter, we should remember that dhyana yoga, when the word is used, or yoga, the word yoga here refers to dhyana yoga. And dhyana yoga in this chapter is contextual. It means nirguna dhyana. Right? Why do we have to remember this? Because the word dhyanam can mean either nirguna dhyanam or saguna dhyanam. And therefore, the interpretation has to be contextual in terms of the context in which the actual word is appearing. The context here is nididhyasanam. Therefore, wherever we talk about yoga over here, it means dhyana yoga, which is nirguna dhyana, brahma dhyana. And so Krishna is saying here that karma yoga is an intermediate sadhana by which a person can attain jnana yogyata praptihi. He can get jnana yogyata praptihi means what? Sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. It can purify the mind, but there is a limitation of karma yoga. It cannot give liberation. So when we talk about karma yoga and jnanam and all that, you will find that among the people who have not studied Vedanta in the traditional manner, you will find that there are two categories of people. One who says that, karma yoga is the only way and that karma yoga will give enlightenment. So many gurus today believe in this. Whether they actually believe in it or not, they portray that so that their believers, their devotees, they do not believe in any scriptural study, they do not believe in any jnanam, and they become devotees of these Rajasic gurus, and they are blind, they have blind faith. But if you ask them, how does karma yoga give you enlightenment? They have no answer excepting that guru says so. So there are people who overemphasize karma yoga and claim that karma yoga alone is sufficient for enlightenment. And therefore, they keep on doing karma yoga. They go to the ashrams. They keep on doing karma yoga in the ashram in the hope that one day enlightenment will come. This is one extreme. It is a mistake. Then there is the other extreme, where the person says that karma yoga is absolutely useless. And therefore, I don't need karma yoga at all. And I will straight away come to jnana yoga. So this is like saying, I want to enter the Olympics, but why should I spend years practicing? Let me straight away go and enter the Olympics. This also is an incorrect view. So both are extremes. Karma yoga is not necessarily extreme. Only karma yoga is also extreme. What is the correct way? Enter into karma yoga, grow out of karma yoga and withdraw. This is a solution. And so Krishna is saying here that everyone should at the beginning stage, when they are entering the sadhana, when they are the beginners in the spiritual path, they have to follow karma yoga. So he says yogam arurukshoho. Aruruksho here means the one who wants to go up. So arohanam is the word. Arohanam means to ascend or to climb. So arurukshoho here means the one who wants to attain spiritual progress, who wants to go up in a spiritual path. And yogam means dhyana yoga, nididhyasanam. Therefore, yogam arurukshoho, the one who wants to go up in the spiritual path, and who wants spiritual progress. So, if you ask the question, who is the person who wants spiritual progress? What is the answer? Obviously, the one who does not have spiritual progress. He wants to have spiritual progress. So, in our language, the one who is in the triangular format but who wants to enter the binary format, who has the desire to enter the binary format, for him, what is sadhana? His sadhana is nididhyasanam. But that therefore the one who desires to do nididhyasanam is the meaning of arurukshoho. Be very careful about this. Because another word is there which we'll come to later. Here in the beginning, arurukshoho means the one who is wanting to come to nididhyasanam, which means he is in the triangular format. He has not come to binary format because nididhyasanam means automatically binary format. Therefore, the one who is wanting to come from the triangular format to the binary format, the one who is not attained Chitta Shuddhi fully, and therefore we say he is the triangular format. He is the person who is arurukshoho. So, yogam arurukshoho, the person who is desirous of coming to nididhyasanam, which means the sadhaka at the initial stage. Remember, for him, meditation cannot be the sadhana because no scripture ever prescribes dhyanam at the very beginning. And here itself you can see, because Bhagavad Geeta, dhyanam is being prescribed where, presented where? In the 6th chapter. After 5 solid chapters are over. The second chapter was Samari, third chapter was Karma Yoga, fourth chapter was Jnana Yoga, fifth chapter was Jnana Yoga. Now he is presenting Nididhyasana. That itself shows the sequence. First, you have to go to karma, upasana, and jnanam, and then only can you come to nididhyasana. Also, Patanjali Yoga Sutras. If you look at the Dhyana stage, it is the 7th one, 7 of the 8 steps. There are 6 steps before that. And therefore, one should understand that if Krishna chose to teach Nididhyasanam in the 6th chapter, he is saying that if you want to come to Jnana Yoga or Dhyana Yoga or Nididhyasanam, you have to first practice Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga, get Chitta Shuddhi, and then only can you come to Jnana. Similarly, if you look at Patanjali Yoga Sutras, your Yama Niyama is what? Karma Yoga only. The do's and don'ts with regard to your daily transactions. And therefore, if a person wants to get Chitta Shuddhi, purify his mind so that he is eligible to receive knowledge in Shravanam, what should he do? Karma Karana Muchyate. He should first practice Karma Yoga, Panchamaha Yajna, etc. That is why the majority of any Veda you'll find is the Karma Kanda. And how long should you do Karma Yoga? Until the necessary preparation of mind is there. The sadhana chatushta sampatti, once that has been established, then only you should change your sadhana. So remember that change has to happen. You cannot remain in karma yoga because you have to come to jnana yoga if you want moksha. And nothing, no sadhana on the spiritual path can be a permanent feature. So even the Guru-Shishya connection, the Guru-Shishya Sambandha is not permanent. One has to grow out of that relationship and end it sooner or later. And therefore he says, Yoga Rudhasya Tasyaiva. So Yoga Arudhasya. So this is different from Arurukshoho. So Yogam Arurukshoho is the one who is not got Chitta Shuddhi, who is desirous of getting Chitta Shuddhi. And that is why Krishna says, he is desirous of coming to Nididhyasanam. Yogam Arurukshoho, the one who wants to come to Nididhyasanam, he has to do Karma Yoga. While Yoga Arudhasya, the one who has already got Aparoksha Atmayanam, who knows that he is Brahman. Yoga Arudhasya means the one who has reached. So Arurukshoho is the one who wants to reach, the one who wants to go up. And Arudhasya is the one who has already come up. So the one who has already reached that Chitta Shuddhi, the one who already knows that he is Atman, Brahman, that person, his mind is mature. what should you do? Shamakarana muchyate. One has to withdraw from karma. So withdrawal from karma, according to the Shastram, can take place in two ways. There is the ritualistic sannyasa, the traditional withdrawal, sannyasa ashram, which is a formal withdrawal. The person enters into Vedic rituals through formal methods only, right? He takes Upanayanam, etc. And therefore, he is qualified to do Vedic rituals when he gets the formal qualification of Upanayanam. And once those rituals have served the purpose, then he can quit the rituals. What do you mean by rituals have served the purpose? He has got the necessary Chitta Shuddhi. And he has gone and done Shravanam, Mananam. Therefore, he knows that he is Brahman without any doubt. The rituals have served their purpose. Karma Kanda has served its purpose. And therefore, Veda gives you the option of quitting that particular Grihastha life. But since there was a proper Vedic ritual, the Upanayanam ceremony, through which we became qualified for doing Vedic rituals, Veda says that when you quit also, it should be quitting formally. It's like quitting a job, right? You get a formal letter of appointment on getting the job. And then when you want to quit a job, you have to give a proper notice and you have to hand over the responsibility, all that. Similarly, in sannyasa also, since you became a grahastha, became eligible to do Vedic rituals through Upanayanam, now when you are quitting and becoming a sannyasi, you have to do a proper ritual. So that is the formal, traditional withdrawal, sannyasa ashrama, where you give up all your ties to the world and to the family and you wear those saffron robes. That is the first method of withdrawal from karma. The second method is that you don't change your ashrama. You don't become a sannyasi in the literal sense of the term, but you remain in grahastha ashrama and you reduce the amount of activity. So this can be called as vanaprastha. You drop your responsibilities by handing over the responsibilities to someone else. And therefore, it's a gradual withdrawal. The minimum karma will always remain, remember, because your body has to be kept in condition, your mind has to be kept in condition, and therefore the minimum amount of karma will always remain. But the significance here is that there is a reduction in the amount of time the mind spends in external activities. So the outward going quality of the mind is slowly sought to be restrained. And why is that so? Because an extroverted mind is not capable of doing inquiry, self-inquiry. And therefore, in whether you are taking formal sannyasa or whether you're remaining as a grihastha and withdrawing, so we can call it sannyasa and vanaprastha. Whether you're taking formal sannyasa or you're in vanaprastha, you have to reduce what all your possessions are to reduce, your relationships are to reduce, and therefore the obligations and transactions which arise from those relationships will reduce. These four things will reduce whether you are in sannyasa or whether you are in vanaprastha. Now remember here that vanaprastha we are using loosely. Vanaprastha really means going to the vanam, to the forest. But here, in today's world, that is no longer feasible, for most of us at least. So, vanaprastha we are using as the grahastha who has fulfilled his worldly responsibilities and is slowly withdrawing. So he no longer interferes in the family. He doesn't make decisions saying, he doesn't say, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. That doesn't happen. And therefore, he has to withdraw from these possessions and obligations and relationships and transactions. And he has to reduce two things, ahankara and mamakara. So which is, ahankara means body and mind, me. Mamakara means mind, which is family, profession, and possession. So these things we have to reduce. Possessions, obligations, relationships, transactions, body, mind, all this, and family. All this we have to cut down. And therefore here, the exact meaning of shamaha cannot be given from Tattva Bodha. What is the meaning of shamaha in Tattva Bodha?
Manonigraha.
Manonigraha. That is not the meaning here. What is the meaning of uparati in Tattvabodha?
Swadharma anushthanamev.
So withdrawal, basically. Uparati means withdrawal. Swadharma anushthanamev. So here you have to give the meaning of uparati to shama, withdrawal from activities. That little difference you must, when you say shama over here in this verse, it doesn't mean the mano nigraha. It means an actual withdrawal from activities of the world. Okay. Now, having withdrawn from these activities, what do? I spend my time more in self-inquiry, right? Withdrawn from activities is not so that I can watch TV or go and enjoy a holiday. Withdrawal here is a very formal withdrawal. What I'm going to do is in my life, Shravanam, Maranam, and Nididhyasanam is going to become dominant. And when this becomes dominant, you will find that there is a major change in your life. Until now, whenever there was a problem for you, for your family, whenever there's a problem, you would go running to the temple to ask for relief from Ishvara. And here you find that now that Nididhyasanam has become dominant, whenever there is a problem, I stop running to Ishvara. Why? Because I have discovered that Ishvara is none other than I myself, the Atma. And therefore, I no longer need to go to Ishvara in the temple or in my puja room to draw strength. I no longer need an external Ishvara to draw strength. I draw strength from what I am, the Atma. And therefore, I have thrown away my begging bowl. I am confident that I am my own adhishthanam, that I am my own support. And when I am the Satyam, any crisis is what? It is mithya only. Any crisis is nama rupa only. Any problem is nama rupa only. How can any mithya nama rupa problem worry me, who is the adhisthana Satyam? So this understanding becomes very clear. And this Nididhyasanam has got two forms. It's called Samadhi Abhyasa Rupa and Brahma Abhyasa Rupa. We have seen this time and again in the Vedantic classes, and in other texts also we have seen. Samadhi Abhyasa Rupa is the practice of Nididhyasanam with a formal posture, sitting down, closing your eyes, hands in chin mudra, all that formal meditation practice is Samadhi Abhyasa Rupa. While Brahma Abhyasa Rupa, there is no formal posture, there is nothing. It is the ability to focus at will. Why do you engage in Samadhi Abhyasa Rupa? Because your mind is still not very stable, and therefore when you want to meditate, you adopt a formal posture, you close your eyes, you repeat a mantra, you use the mala. There is a specific period of time, once or twice a day, which you dedicate to Samadhi Abhyasa. This Abhyasa Rupa Samadhi. Okay. Now, once this formal meditation practice is stabilized, so Samadhi Abhyasa Rupa is stabilized, then what do? You are able to focus at will. You don't necessarily have to sit down and close your eyes and a posture and all that. You don't even have to have a mala. Nothing is required because your mind has developed. Your willpower has developed to such an extent that you are able to focus when you want to. And at that time, you can drop Samadhi Abhyasa Rupa and switch over to 24/7 by 365 meditation, which is also Nididhyasanam. It is called Brahma Abhyasa Rupa. In Samadhi Abhyasa Rupa, more or less, you are just coming out of triangular format. In Brahma Abhyasa Rupa, the binary format has become spontaneous. And therefore, you have to do the reverse. You will be in Brahma Abhyasa Rupa most of the time. When you want to transact anything in this life, when you want to buy a cup of coffee or when you want to eat, you have to make a deliberate effort to go back to the triangular form. So when your Binary format is so spontaneous that you are in it all the time, right? And it requires an effort to bring the RC back so that you can transact. That is the time when you can drop your samadhi abhyasa rupa and remain stably in Brahma abhyasa rupa. Whenever you need to, you can invoke the RC and do the transaction, and then come back remembering that you are the OC. That is the difference between Samadhi Abhyasa Rupa and Brahma Abhyasa Rupa. Most of us are currently in Samadhi Abhyasa Rupa. Very few of us who have the necessary prarabdha to have no more demands on them, they can move into Brahma Abhyasa Rupa, providing Samadhi Abhyasa Rupa Nididhyasanam has stabilized. And this whole chapter, therefore, deals with what? It deals with Samadhi Abhyasa Rupa only, not with Brahma Abhyasa Rupa. Brahma Abhyasa Rupa is dealt with where? In the previous chapter. Can you tell us the words, the sloka, which says that, from which it is indicative that the 5th chapter deals with Brahma Abhyasa Rupa Samadhi? What is the sloka in the 5th chapter which will indicate that chapter actually deals with the Brahma Samadhi, with the Brahma Abhyasa Rupa, that constant Samadhi, constant Nididhyasana? You can't forget the previous chapter. You're in the 6th chapter. What does the 5th chapter say? Anybody?
The 29th verse
29th?
that is saying that
No,
those who knows me as everything and
no. Anybody? Nobody?
7, sir. 7.
No.
Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma vitam.
No. So it is the 8th and the 9th verse. Naiva kinchit karomiti yuktot manyeta tattveta pasyan srunman sprishan jagran ashnan gachan savanpushan. Whatever I am doing, I still remember that I am Brahman. So these connections you have to make, okay? Fine. Now let us go to the 4th verse. We will chant. Yada hi nendriyartheshu
यदा
यदा हि
हीन्द्रियार्थेषु
na karma swanushajjate
न
न
कर्म सनुष्ठियते
sarva sankalpa sannyasi
Sarva
सर्वसङ्कल्पसन्न्यासी
yoga rudhastadochyate.
योगारूढस्तदोच्यते.
Okay. Now look at the words. Yadahi na indriya artheshu. So that breakup is important. Yadahi na indriya artheshu na karmasu anushajjate. Sarva sankalpa sannyasi yoga rudaha tada uchyate. So the word breakups. And the Anvaya is yadahi na indriya artheshu na karmasu anusajjate kama tada sarvasankalpa sannyasi yogaha arudaha uchyate. Yadahi na indriya artheshu na karmasu anusajjate tada sarvasankalpa sannyasi yoga arudaha uchyate. Yadahi, when indeed, anusajjate, the person is not attached, na indriya artheshu, not to the sense objects. So when the person is the no has to be, you can put it as na indriya artheshu or as na anusajjate. So if you are saying yadahi na anusajjate, when indeed the person is not attached, where indriya artheshu to the sense objects or karmasu or to the actions themselves, karma themselves, tada. At that point of time, what happens? Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi. This person who has renounced all his desires, Yoga Arudaha Uchyate. He is said to be the one who has attained the state of Nididhyasanam, who has attained contemplation. Okay. So here Krishna is telling us, when do you know that you are ready for Nididhyasanam? When should you start reducing the karma? Is there some yardstick? You know, can you go to somebody and say, tell me, am I ready? Or is there a prescription somewhere which says that you do karma yoga for 10 years and 3 months and 2 days? Unfortunately, there is no uniform rate of attainment of inner maturity, which we call chitta shuddhi. And depending upon the person's vasanas and his lifestyle, it can be a short period only, or it can be several decades, or it can be several lifetimes also. That is what Shankara says. Angam galitam palitam mundam dashana vihinam jatam tundam vruddho yati grihitva dandam tadapyana munchita asha pindam. Angam galitam. The body has become old and weak. Limbs have become weak. Mundam palitam. The head has become bald. Dasana vihinam. The mouth has become without teeth. Jatam tundam. The teeth have started falling one by one, and therefore dasana vihinam. He has become toothless. And vruddho yati grihitva dandam. This old man, he requires a dandam, a stick to be able to stand straight. Tadapi, even then, na munchati asha pinda. He does not give up the hopes and desires, the bundle of hopes and desires, he does not give up. And therefore, as Vedantic seekers, you should know, when am I going to become ready for Dhyana Yoga, right? Your teacher can never tell you that. You cannot go and ask your teacher, oh teacher, am I ready for Nididhyasanam? You have to discover it for yourself. You alone can decide. And how do you decide? Yadahi na indriyartheshu na karmasu anusajjate. When you are free from the obsessions of sense pleasures, which we call arthakama purushartha. It is not that Shastra says you cannot fulfill arthakama. Arthakama purushartha is very much a legitimate part of Shastram. It says, yes, you can fulfill that. But what Krishna is saying, that your mind should not be constantly thinking only about artha and kama. Because if your mind is constantly dwelling on only artha and kama, to such a mind, Vedanta will be irrelevant, will look absolutely irrelevant. Preference is one thing. The need, the craving is completely different thing. And that is the mark of a mature mind. It converts needs into preferences. That conversion of needs into preferences, that is what we call vairagya. So he says, indriyartheshu na anusajjate. He is not tempted by the sense objects. And therefore, karmasu, he doesn't indulge in those activities necessary for enjoying those sense objects. Simply put, what is the sign of maturity? Detachment. In Tattva-bodha language, nitya, anitya, vastu, viveki you become. No longer interested in worldly achievements. And therefore, sarva sankalpa sannyasi. He is not obsessed with arthakama. He is not obsessed with the arrival of pleasurable experiences. He is not obsessed with the departure of pleasurable experiences. The word sankalpa here is used to indicate the seed, the very kama in its very beginning stages. And sankalpa develops into full-blown kama desire at a later stage. So this person, he knows the value of money. He does not disrespect it, but he does not need that money for security because he knows that security does not depend upon external conditions. Security is purely an inner state of mind. And he knows that Ishvara will take care of me. And because of this attitude only, Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi. He has dropped his worries about the future. So he loses interest in society. And interesting thing is, when you lose interest in society, what will happen? Society will lose interest in you. And they will say that you are a useless fellow. So those of us who are very serious about Vedanta, have been for several years, would realize that your closest, nearest and dearest always tell you that you are totally useless for such activities. So in simple language, when are you ready for Nididhyasanam? When you are totally unfit for society. One thumb rule you can keep. If everybody tells you that you are absolutely useless for society, then that is ready, you are ready for Nididhyasana. Shankara comments very extensively on this Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi. Sankalpa is the very seed of karma, of desire. And desire is the very seed of karma. And we saw this earlier, where in the Gita itself, Dhyayato Vishayam Pumsaha Angasteshu Upajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha Kamat Krodho Vijayate. So this line, Dhyayato Vishayans Pumsaha Angasteshu Upajayate, is the explanation of Sankalpa. And Shankara says, Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi means Sarva Kama Sannyasi, Sarva Desire Sannyasi. He has renounced all desires. And Sarva Kama Sannyasi means Sarva Karma Sannyasi. He has also renounced all karma also. And when you renounce all karma, how is it possible? Only when formal sannyasa has been taken. And therefore Shankara uses this word. Shankara says by using the word Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi, Krishna is saying before you come to the next class, please take sannyasa. Okay, so he's wanting all of us to take sannyasa. So the idea is that sannyasa ashramam is the ideal environment for Nididhyasanam. And such a person, yoga rudas taduchyate. He is ready for dhyana yoga. And therefore, this yoga rudaha we can take as jnana nishtha. Okay. Any questions so far? Two very, very important verses. All right. So, yes, John, anything?
Yeah. So when it's because of this vairagyam that the person starts losing interest in material things. It's because of that people will start like kind of telling you that you are useless for society because you don't engage in any activity, you don't
More or less,
purchase
yes.
in a job. But
Yes.
it's not really in a bad way as we should take it, right?
Basically, when you are having complete detachment, it also means that you don't find any value in those worldly activities, and that is why you lose interest.
Mhm.
But it is not necessary. But this is only being shown here as a as a indicator it can happen. But you must remember that we have cases like Janaka or Lord Krishna himself, terribly busy, but possessed of vairagyam. So it's not must that if you have vairagyam, you will automatically be useless. But I'm saying generally you will find that if you have a lot of vairagyam, you will not be interested in too many worldly activities, which means your wife and your husband, your children and all will think that better not to tell this fellow anything, because anyway he spends his time listening to various teachers. Why should I waste my time on him? When that comes, then you find that more or less all your time, spare time is being spent in Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. That is the time to formally say that should I take sannyasa or not? That is what the idea here is.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So let us look at the next verse, the 5th verse. We will
So
chant.
one question, if
Yeah.
I can ask. So,
Yes, ma'am.
like when we say FIR as a indication to understand our level of Chitta Shuddhi, so more than this interest in worldly activities, is FIR dropping not a better indicator to understand if we are ready for Nidhi Dhyasanam? Because a person can be like generally when we use the word introvert, a person may be introvert because of which he or she may not be having a lot of interest in worldly activities, but still may be having a high FIR and therefore not ready for Nidhi Dhyasanam.
Yeah, so that's the question that basically June also raised, saying that don't take it as absolute that that you, unless you have lost interest in the worldly activities, you're not ready for Nididhyasanam. One of these very strong indicators is that your worldly activities will reduce. And the reason is very simple, because instead of spending time going to movies and stuff like that, you would rather spend the time on Nididhyasanam. And that is how people around you will start telling you that you are not ready for all this, you're changed, why don't you don't know how to enjoy yourself. When all those things come, it's an indication that you are changing. Of course, FIR is very important, because if all those changes happen and you still react violently to every little thing, then obviously you are not ready. So whatever we are learning, you're learning a whole range of various qualities which will appear or disappear. You want to put them all together. That's why I said nobody can tell you whether you're ready or not. Only you can tell. How will you know? When you switch on the Vedanta class and hours go by and you don't feel the absence of anything else, that interest is paramount. You would rather sit and listen to a Vedanta class than go to a movie or go to a beach, which is not totally feasible, I agree, because you have, as a grahastha, you have responsibilities. So you have to, basically moderate the time. You have to give time there also. But the idea is to ensure that that time doesn't take away from my quality time. And therefore, you may have to change your lifestyle. Instead of getting up at 6, you will be getting up at 3. Now, like, for example, I do that, right? Because I have a wife and I have a child and I have a grandchild. I have lots of responsibilities. I need time for myself. So I spend the morning. So I get up very early, and up to maybe around almost 11:30, 12, I'm busy with this. Then the whole day is available. So that you should be prepared to make that relaxation in your life. That I am prepared to sacrifice some sleep. I'm prepared to sacrifice some other activity so that I can spend more time on Nididhyasana. That is when that what you call yearning comes, then you know that you are ready for Nididhyasana.
Thank you.
Acharya ji, for those of us whose children are away and the two of us are living alone, what will be vanaprastha?
It is basically vanaprastha
Have
only.
to take care of the household and all the
That is
responsibilities.
okay. Even in a vanam, you have to clean up your house in a hut, right? You can't live like a wild animal. Even if you go to the forest, you'll be having a hut which you need to clean. You'll be having to, have to cook. All those things have to be there. See, earlier vanaprastha means you don't have a fire at all, because you can go and you can beg, right? You can get alms, and grahastha was bound to give. But those circumstances have changed. You can't do that anymore. So vanaprastha basically can be taken as withdrawing from most activity. And people whose children are grown up, children are independent, not dependent upon them. Once in a way they call you and want to talk to you, or once in a way they ask you to go there. Ideal for us, Vanaprastha. You can do most of the work yourself. And also it doesn't mean that you have to lead a life is totally devoid of entertainment. Now you spend 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day on Mananam, Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, Pranayama, Yoga, all these activities which support your sadhana you do. And later on in the day, you can watch TV, you can go for a walk. All is to be ensured is that as far as possible, you retain the Aham Brahmasmi idea in your mind as far as possible. When you're talking to your children, obviously you cannot be saying I am Brahmasmi, right? So that's not something which we are saying. We are saying as far as possible, you maintain that. And therefore, that's why I said during the replacement is that normally we are RC and we invoke the OC during meditation. Here, that is Samadhi Abhyasa. You reverse that and become Brahma Abhyasa. Normally, your OC, when you are required to do a transaction, when you are required to talk to your children, when you are required to cook, when you are required to eat, you will have to deliberately invoke the RC. That is the only difference. RC and OC are both there. The proportionate time in which you spend in either of these, that is what is required to be changed. You can still have a very, very comfortable and happy life, enjoying everything that you have. That is the beauty of having a leg in the OC campus. You can be the OC, and yet nothing which stops you from enjoying the world. In fact, you'll enjoy the world more because you know that whole thing is entertainment only. You are no longer any problem is your problem because world is mithya. When that happens, only you can really enjoy life. So far from the normal idea that a vanaprastha or a sannyasi is a grim first-faced chap, it is actually the other way around. He enjoys every moment of his life because he knows the whole thing is mithya.
Wow, that's so beautiful.
Yes. Om sir, the process with me was very gradual. When I opened my iPad, instead of looking at Netflix, I opened my YouTube to revise the Gita lessons. And slowly I got into it, and this became more important in my life than anything else.
Yeah,
And
but I'm still saying, don't completely cut off your Netflix.
Yes, I do. I do watch once in a while.
Once in a way, your mind cannot be. Your mind is an instrument, right? It needs to be
Correct.
relaxed. So that relaxation you have to give it.
Yes. True, sir.
Om,
Thank you.
Om, sir.
Yes, Induji.
So, Nidhi, Samadhi Rupam Dhyanam is basically the Samadhi that we talk about in many places, that Samadhi mein baithenge, Samadhi karenge.
It is based, yeah, but I think it's more appropriate to use it as the effort to do meditation. Like you sit down, you close your eyes, you light a lamp in front of you, you take out a mala, you chant something either mentally or verbally, try to focus your mind. That formal sitting, yam niyam asana pranayam pratyahar dhyana samadhi, that implementation of those 8 limbs, that is samadhi rupa abhyasa. Abhyasa of what? Of nididhyasanam. When I say samadhi rupa abhyasa, it means samadhi abhyasa of nididhyasanam in samadhi rupam, in the form of sitting in formal samadhi. The other one is brahma rupa abhyasa of nididhyasanam. Abhyasa of nididhyasanam only, practicing nididhyasanam only, but with the understanding that I am Brahman. Which means, when are you Brahman? All the time. What is around you? Brahman only. And therefore, you don't need to sit down. But for that, your mind has to become so used to being under your control that you should be able to walk around on the road and see a cat and say, oh, that is Brahman. At least mentally, you don't say that to everybody else. Because that cat is nothing but Brahman. When you are able to see that, that is what is called Samadhi Rupa. That is what? Yatra yatra manoyati tatra tatra samadhaya. Drik drishya viveka. Wherever the mind goes, it is in Samadhi only. What is Samadhi? Samadhi is seeing Brahman. And yatra yatra manoyati. Wherever the mind goes, if you are able to see Brahman, the mind is perpetually in Samadhi. It doesn't need to go anywhere. Everywhere it goes, there is only Brahman.
So Samadhi could be, when you said that 5 topics have been discussed, that Bahyarang Sadhana and Antaranga Sadhana, Brahmarup is Antaranga Sadhana.
No, here I have to be very clearly that this chapter is dealing only with Samadhi Rupa sadhana, because it is sitting with postures. You'll find later on, Krishna talks about the posture and all that. Brahma Rupa Abhyasa is dealt with in chapter 5, because it talks of Pashyan Shrinvan. Whatever I am doing, I am Brahman.
So here is only talking.
This chapter is clearly formal meditation techniques.
So it's Bahyarang Sadhana.
Don't mix things.
No, I mean, so get mixed up.
Bhaya sadhana and Antar sadhana are two different things. Yeah, that's also talked about here. That we'll come to.
Mm-hmm.
Don't mix up and come to conclusions right now. Wait till the chapter is over, then understand.
So Samadhi could be, is there any relationship between the word some? Some means equality.
No, I don't want to get into the Sanskrit because most people don't know. Just let's leave it at that.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So we have a few minutes. We can do the next one, at least part of the next one. So we'll look at verse number 5. We will chant. Uddharet atmanatmanam.
Uddharet
Atmanam
Atmanam avasadayet.
Natmanam avasade
Atmaiva yatmano bandhuhu.
Atmaiva yatmano
Atmaiva ripuratmanaha. Okay, now this is one of those verses where Atman appears several times and they appear in different meanings. Okay, so there you have to be careful, otherwise you'll be totally confused. So I'll just give you the meanings. First, we'll do the normal one. The breakup is Uddharet Atmana Atmanam. So two Atmanams are there. Uddharet Atmana Atmanam. Then Na Atmanam Avasadayet. Then Atma Eva Hi Atmanaha Bandhuhu Atma Eva Ripuhu Atmanaha. Several times the word Atma has appeared. And the Anvaya is Atmana Atmanam Uddharet. Full stop. Atmana Atmanam Uddharet. Full stop. Atmanam Na Avasadayet, comma. Atma Evahi Atmanaha Bandhuhu, comma. Atma Eva Atmanaha Ripu, full stop. Very confusing if you don't know the words. And therefore, what is it being said? This is basically introducing two important Bahiranga sadhana, external sadhana. What is that? Number one is Purushartha, Prayatna, using your free will appropriately, self-effort. And it's a very important verse because Krishna is very clearly saying that you all have got free will, right? And this is a big debate in most spiritual circles. Some people say everything is predetermined. भगवान ने माथे पे लिखा है, मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ? Isn't it? A lot of people say that. God has already decided, what can I do? And this is a mistaken concept because very many people, in a lot of Westerners, including very many modern Indians, they say Indian Shastra is fatalistic. There's a huge difference between fate and fatalism. What is fate? Fate is one of the factors which influences the success of my actions, right? What is the other factor? It is agami karma. So fate we can define as prarabdha karma, that prarabdha karma which is beyond my control. And then there is one more factor which is in my control, that is my present self-effort. So agami karma and prarabdha karma defines the success of any of my actions. Right? That is what is the difference of fate. While when you say fatalism, the agami karma is left out of the equation. Fatalism means the understanding is that fate, prarabdha karma, is the only factor which determines the success and failure of my actions. It's a very, very important understanding. Fatalism means prarabdha karma is the only factor which determines your future success or failure of your actions. While fate means prarabdha karma is there, agami karma is also there. So there is prarabdha and agami. Agami can be taken as swecha, free will. So prarabdha and free will operating together produces the result. And that is why you cannot predict the results of your karma. Why? Because the relative strength of prarabdha and the relative strength of agami or free will, it can vary from situation to situation. So you can have a prarabdha which is prabhala prarabdham, very strong, or madhyama prarabdham, middling, or durbhala prarabdham, weak. And you can have different grades of prayatana or free will or agami karma. Same, prabhala, madhyama, durbhala. You can have very strong effort, you can have medium effort, and you can have weak effort. And depending upon how these 6 types interact with each other, that interaction decides success or failure. So if it is prabhala prarabdha, very powerful prarabdha, negative prarabdha, let us say, even your best prayatna will fail. But if it is durbhala prarabdha, even a durbhala prayatna might succeed. Even a very weak effort may succeed against a weak prarabdha. While if it is madhyama prarabdha, the free will may be strong enough to manage the prarabdha, but it is not strong enough to stop it. And therefore, I am not able to reduce the impact, but I am able to manage the impact. Big difference. Reduction or elimination of prarabdha impact is different from managing the prarabdha impact and not letting your FIR get affected. And therefore, Krishna is saying, hey Arjuna, understand this complex web of interplay and take charge of your life. What is the first step? Whatever goal you want to accomplish in life, you have only a limited set of instruments. What are they? Jnanendriyani, karmendriyani. You got your mind, you got your buddhi. You have a mind which is capable of having very healthy emotions and give you a very comfortable life, focusing on spirituality. But the same mind is capable of having very unhealthy emotions that will keep you depressed all the time and take you away from spirituality. You have a good intellect also, which can choose the best purushartha, moksha, and accomplish it. Or the same intellect can choose only arthakama and waste your life. So in this 5th verse, Krishna uses the word Atma to refer to body, senses, mind, intellect at various conditions. So, for example, what he is saying is that BMSC, your body, mind, sense, and intellect, it should be in good condition. It's like your car, the vehicle. If the vehicle is in good condition when you reach the highway, you will travel comfortably and reach your destination. If the vehicle is in bad condition when you reach the highway, you will reach the ICU. So he says, Uddharet Atmana Atmanam. First, refine your instruments, integrate your personality. What do you mean by refinement? Every organ must be healthy. So never ignore the health of your body. You should be physically, mentally, and psychologically balanced, sane. I should have intellectual clarity. What do I want in life? And then I have to refine the instruments which I have. What are the instruments? They are the body, mind, sense complex. And what is the refining tool? That is the catch. To refine the body, the tool is the body. To refine the mind, the tool is the mind. To refine the intellect, the tool is the intellect. And you have to refine your instruments with the very help of those same instruments. And the Shankara comments that Atma here is the Jivatma. That Jivatma who is being sent up and down by the waves of Prarabdha. So he says, Atmanam Uddharet. Lift yourself by yourself. So remember that blessing of Shastra is important. The blessing of your Guru is important. The blessing of your Easwara is important. But if you have seen these American soccer games, you have these cheerleaders, the girls are waving bouquets around. Remember that Shastra, Guru, and Ishvara are only the cheerleaders. Who does the running? You have to do the running. You have to play the game. All of us can only sit and encourage you. And what is meant by this word Uddharet? Shankara says, Uddharet means converting knowledge to Jnana Nishtha. You have to learn to look at all problems as Mithya only. So we are out of time. We'll stop here. We'll continue this verse from here in the next class. Until then, any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Sir, even like when we say that we need to refine our instruments, like lift yourself by self, we are talking about the free will here. But even a good health, in spite of the person, say, doing the asanas, taking care of integrating the body with the asanas, I mean, the person may not be having good health. The person may have some disease, which is also prarabdha, na?
Yes, it is prarabdha. But nobody says that you can, eliminate prarabdha. But you can at least put in your own effort. So we talked earlier about choiceless situations and situations with choice. Choiceless situations, your karma, your agami karma is not going to help you. And therefore, if the situation is choiceless, if a particular disease is there which is long lasting, you accept it. Nothing can be done because you have tried everything. But choiceful situations, if for example you are fat, can you reduce that? Yes. How? By doing exercise. That's what is being meant here. You have to utilize your free will wherever available, your efforts you have to utilize to improve each and every part of the organs given to you. If it cannot be improved, you accept. But that part which you can improve, you must improve.
Okay.
Om Acharya ji.
Yes, Amit ji.
Acharya ji, my question is that getting the blessings of Guru or Devta, will it be part of free will or it's mostly prarabdha?
Both actually. You can have the will to find a guru, but if your prarabdha doesn't permit you, you won't find. On the other hand, you might have the prarabdha to find a guru, but your free will is not there to take it forward. So that you can look at from the very group. When this group started 2.5 years ago, it had 100 members. Now we are down to 58. So 58 members have the prarabdha and the free will. 42 members had the prarabdha but didn't have the free will. See the very, immediate example.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, so with this we'll stop for today. Thank you for your patience. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.